Hi, this is Dr. Pachenik, and I want to talk today about the moral turpitude and cowardliness of MIT, Harvard, Cornell, Yale, Stanford, University of Berkeley, University of Texas. I'm going to concentrate on three schools that I attended: MIT, Harvard, and Cornell. MIT is probably the most seriously impacted school of all. They greeted this past weekend the butcher of the Middle East, our friendly Mohammed bin Salman, the 33-year-old butcher who's killed millions of Yemenis and as well tortured and then dismembered Khashoggi, a Washington Post correspondent of Saudi Arabian origin, and he was dismembered by Mohammed bin Salman on his orders. Our CIA agreed. And now Mohammed bin Salman comes to the United States to do a tour to brighten up his image as a butcher and a terrorist. So what did he do? He gave $23 million to Raphael Raif, who is basically the president of MIT. Now, why am I going after Raphael Raif? Because I find him to be a moral coward. When I went to MIT, I was proud that I was trained by men who had served in our country, men who had served in the intelligence service, Lucian Pai, Kaufman, and others. And I was trained in psychological warfare by CIA and DARPA. Now, Raphael Raif makes it look as if there was no past history at MIT of anything other than good thoughts and good deeds, when in fact, he is a moral coward. He took in $23 million, despite the fact that 4,000 MIT students, as well as the Associate Provost Marshal Lister, said to him, "We cannot accept the $23 million that we do not need because our budget at MIT is $16 billion in revenues. We do not need it, but we've compromised our reputation." Having said that, the provost couldn't find the president of MIT. He was nowhere to be found. That is usually the history of Raphael Raif. I found him to be a moral and intellectual coward. Let's go then to his offspring, Mr. Bolkow of Harvard, who trained at MIT, was a MS, and then went on to lead Tufts University and eventually Harvard. Both Raif and Bacow are the children of Holocaust parents like I am. Both had a moral imperative to act in a moral way, yet both failed. Number one, they failed to serve our country in any way other than receiving grants and doing studies behind in the lab. They failed to serve our country overseas. And thirdly, they failed to maintain the moral and intellectual integrity of their universities. Bacow received $25 million from Mohammed bin Salman, said absolutely nothing, and then went on as if nothing had happened. Cornell is led by somebody who I consider to be more brave or braver, and that is Martha Pollack, a PhD. She has served our country. She is Jewish, but she has served our country. She was in the intelligence service. She was an SRI. But the one issue that she has refused to acknowledge is the fact that Mohammed bin Salman has also given Cornell University $23 million, and she won't admit it. Although Cornell has given up the Chinese donation because they were against the slaughter of the Uyghurs in China. Let me say the following. Cornell has a real problem in not looking back at its past of anti-Semitism at Cornell University and at Cornell University Medical College. More importantly, it won't look at the fact that it was the breeding grounds for 9/11 and for the neocons, including Steve Hadley, who was recently feted, Richard Pearl, he went to the University of Chicago, Paul Wolfowitz, who was from Cornell, Frank Fukuyama from Cornell, and Sandy Berger. All this tells me that the university have become denigrated in terms of their prowess as intellectual forefront leaders. They have sounded as if they really are liberal and they're progressive. In fact, they're not. In many ways, they're quite reactionary and reaffirm the fact that money runs the university. Let me quote Aristotle, who said that if you fail to act in according to the rules of law, you are a moral coward. Thank you and good night.